weeks to go. I checked your line. Who's next to go?
Bondzee Live. Trippin With Bondzee on YouTube. Wow.
Take. Reggie, don't eat him.
All right, buddy, wait until I say go, okay?
Riley, look at me.
Oh.
Oh, you're not getting dinner. You're bad. No, you're not getting dinner. You was bad.
Toffee.
Oh my God, how great is that? Let me bring me full screen and let me stop that nonsense. And hold on, let me do this. Man, where's Wade? Bonds, get that off the screen. There I am. How are you? Welcome to this madness that is Bondzee Live on Trippin With Bondzee on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. It's episode 315, 4.5 years of this complete madness. And if you're still here, and or if you're just popping by and you feel like subscribing to any of this nonsense, feel free. There it all is. And new logos, new stuff forthcoming. Listen, there's only one of me. I would love to tell you I've got this whole elaborate team that takes care of all of this, but it's me. I look like Mr. Clean right now. Hey, nice shirt, Bondzee. What are you, a little spit shy? What are you shooting a commercial, Mr. Clean? Like, listen, I wish I was that guy. I wish I made the money. Whoever was making the money to look like that dude. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not. And we're going to get into all of that. Me living in Toronto. Listen, it's different. Change is hard. Change is good. Change forces you to be better. We'll get into it all. We're also going to get into my amazing interview with Troy Zak, bassist for Econoline Crush, plus a great punk band that he's in called the Isotopes Punk Rock Baseball Club. We talk travel, we talk music, we talk everything. And I'm really looking forward to you guys checking out this interview. I did it Sunday afternoon with him, pre-football, sort of in the middle of football. And then I had to go out. I had an appointment. And it was just a wonderful chat. And I can't wait to share it with you. Man, I'm also going to go off about Ozempic. And not so much the people that use it for the right reasons, but more so the pathetic losers out there that are taking fake Ozempic because not only are they, well, too stupid, they're also too lazy. And then they wonder why they have all these crazy side effects because they didn't take the real Ozempic. We'll get into that. Plus, I'm going to tell you how I mentioned it, how it's going in Toronto. We're going to get into it all. The condo house search continues. Where am I going to end up? Did I make the right decision? Listen, change is hard. Like I mentioned, I'm nervous. Plus, I will confirm 100% coming up shortly that I am not, me, Gregory Scott Bond, is not a doctor, nor am I a dietitian, nor am I some expert guru. I'm just a human. And I'm just a guy who's been through some stuff. And I'm wanting to share everything, you know? That's just who I am. But we got some haters, and haters gonna hate. And the keyboard warriors are the best, aren't they? Because when you don't engage with them the way they want you to engage with them, they get all upset. anyways, we'll get into that as well. Which leads me to blocking a plethora of assholes lately, and not just lately, this past year. Because listen, if you ain't Team Bonds, and if you're not on my wellness train and where I am taking my life from where I came from, well then guess what? Toodaloo. And that's okay. I am not for everybody. Nor are you, or you are you for everybody. And that's okay too. We're all humans. We're all just trying to get along in this crazy world called Earth, and this crazy thing called life. And buckle up, because it's a wild ride. Plus, we got Dummies of the Week. Crazy pictures, videos to talk about. Patrick Mahomes with the Kansas City Chiefs. Believe it or not, shocking, I know, they're at the Super Bowl for the third straight year in a row. We'll see if they go for a three-peat. Well, Patrick Mahomes, double, you know what I'm saying. Plus, guests coming up on this insane show that you watch and listen to and love so much. Maybe Jonathan Torrance. Listen, I've been pumping those tires for a little bit now. But when you meet somebody in the airport and he legit tells you that he's coming on, and it seems legit, and it was the real Jonathan Torrance. It wasn't like a, what do you call it, like a shapeshifter or anything. It was him. And he said he would come on the show. And now, well, he sort of ghosted me. Unless I got the email wrong. So I will reach out to a couple different avenues, but I'm pretty sure it's just probably Stupid Bondzee, who has this stupid show, that got the email wrong or something, and that's why he's not responding. So, coming up possibly on Trippin With Bondzee, Jonathan Torrance. But I do know for sure Rick Jacket from Finger 11 will be coming on the show at some point, coming up soon. This guy's amazing. One of the most amazing guitar players. Can't wait to have him on the show. Plus, I'm still working on it. Stop yelling at me. I can already hear some of you. But Bondzee, you've been saying this for so long. Well, yeah, I know. And JJ Wild said to me face to face like 3 times, she wants to come on the show. But management, and I'm not going to get into it. We've been down this road before. Sometimes they just like to get in the way. We'll get past that soon. I promise. All right. This show would not happen without these wonderful sponsors. This wonderful sponsor, lifetime legendary pass for me, for them. It goes both ways. Shakespeare's Fine Dining. Folks, I am telling you, if you want the best steak and seafood and vegetables and wine and dessert and service, look no further than Shakespeare's Fine Dining. Please make a reservation, though. Unless you're like elite status, which I'm not even, because I still have to make a reservation. Please call 905-528-0689 or go to www.shakespeares.ca and make a reservation. Thank me later for all of the aforementioned above. Okay, super, good. All right, let's get up with the show. What do you got, Bonds? Living in Toronto. Remember when I said I panicked like 2 shows ago or last show or something, and I was all nervous? And well, let me jump into the comments for a second because it's been a minute. Lisa Holgate, let them. I know, like, right? Okay, Lisa, and it's sort of about what I'm about to get into. And I mean, I'm not saying I've let any of them in, but what I've probably let in more lately than I have ever is this, my own demons in my own head. And it has really been affecting me. Listen, change is extremely hard for a human being. You can try and deny it all you want and say, oh, this is great. Oh, I'm doing this and I'm doing this. And that's how I sort of portray my life on social media. Because listen, I am not new to this, but lest anybody think it gets easier anytime I make these changes and decisions and do what I do, it is not easy. It's tough. Life is tough. I did not expect to be a single father 17 years into a relationship, 15 years into marriage. And then I was. And then since then, I've had to go through trials and tribulations of that, trials and tribulations of dealing with a massive amount of PTSD and the struggles of watching the trauma that I suffered. and dealing with all that, and then just everything else in between. And now, I've got to a point in my life where I've been sober from alcohol for 1 year. And then as soon as I do that, I literally throw myself, like, not even Nicaragua wasn't even as hard as I thought it was going to be, but living in Toronto is a fucking million times harder. And it's not that I'm sitting here craving to drink. I want to drink. I'm not going to fucking lie. But I think it's the whole fearness of, what did you do? How are we going to do this? Why are we doing this? But, it's about expanding and making yourself a bigger and better person. And fear brings out the best in you. It brings out the best in me. I know it's going to. It already has. It'll bring out the best in you and you and you too. And listen, I'd be completely lying if I would sit here tonight and tell you I am not scared as fuck, because I am. Listen, the money's rolling in right now with some of these acting gigs, and more so the voice acting world for me right now is on fire. But life ain't a guarantee, bro, sister. And when that money train stops, if it stops, well, then what? And so I've always been that guy. I worry about the future so much that it drives me mental. It's part of who I am and how I tick. But I think that's what drives me and forces me, and is what's got me to this point right now. Fear. Change. Man, if I haven't done it, I don't know another person in my life that's done a bigger change in the last 13, 14 months than me. And yet I'm still struggling with the change, because the change never stops changing. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? And change is hard. Change is the hardest thing in the world. And so change also brings out your fears and your worries, and it makes you want to resort back to bad habits. Well, you can't let that win. And I haven't let that win. And I'm thankful each and every day for some friends that I get to reach out to, and this platform that I get to speak about this, because, quite frankly, I didn't, other than my interview with Troy, which I can't wait for you guys to see coming up shortly. I really didn't know how I was going to roll through the show, because I'm super busy with the voice stuff, and I didn't want to put in the time. I always want to put forth a great show, but I didn't have the time to put forth what I thought would be a great show. But yet I haven't shut the fuck up. I have hardly looked at my notes, because I think the best part about the show is the realness and rawness that you get from Gregory. And listen, life is hard. Life ain't easy. And I'm going through it as a single dad at 51 fucking years old, who just got sober and is still trying to fight the PTSD demons and his past demons and all that shit. And then starting over in Toronto and worried about finances, worried about this. And listen, I know I'm not the only one going through these trials and tribulations. We all are. And that's what this is all about. So I implore you to try to be better each and every day, 1% better. That's what I'm trying to do right now, because listen, I'm scared. I'm scared. Should I live outside the city and pay way less rent and spend money and driving around all the time and coming into the city and this and this? What is the right answer? If somebody has it, can you please send it to me? If your crystal ball is just on fire right now and you got all the answers, you go, oh, guess what, Gregory? Here's what you should do. Well, then please send forth, because otherwise I don't have a fucking clue. I'm just rolling with the days. And this is where the universe has led me. This is where I am. This is where I need to be. And we'll make a go of it. So that being said, moving on. What do you got next? What are we at here? 14 minutes. Okay. 5 minutes till Troy Zak interview coming up. I can't wait for you guys to see this interview. Such a cool cat. We chat travel. We chat music. We chat punk. We chat rock and roll. We chat Econoline Crush and their tour and a lot more. Dude's a wicked guy. Coming up, 5 minutes. All right. Ozempic. Now look, this leads into sort of the Ozempic I'm not a doctor rant, because lately some people, and I tease this at the top of the show, have come at me online because I'm literally just trying to share my knowledge and my wisdom of getting and changing my life in this past year, 2 years. And like I said, it's a continuous work. It's a struggle, and we go on. But from what I've learned, dietitian wise, mentally wise, and breathing and all this other stuff, I've promoted and I've put it out there for, if you want help in so many different ways, I'm available. But then I've had some people come at me, and the keyboard warriors are on fire lately, if you will, with old Bondzarelli, because listen, the better you are, the better you do, the better you feel, the better you show yourself out there and are just out there, the more the keyboard warriors they just love to hate on you, don't they? Over that big old belly of theirs while they sit back. Oh, let's look at Bondzee. He's killing it. I'm going to bring him down a couple. I'll see if I can get under his skin. Well, listen, thankfully, due to my past experiences from the Dean Blundell being on that part of that network and that madness and stuff, there were some people that hated on me, but being a part of that show, and or they didn't hate me, but they hated the fact that I was on that show because they hated Dean Blundell. It was just a vicious circle. I couldn't win for losing for being a part of that. But going through all that also taught me to get and have way thicker skin. And listen, the haters they gonna hate, and they be aplenty. But it's how you deal with them, and I've learned to deal with them. And so, blocking is a wonderful, wonderful tool on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and the rest of it. And sadly, I will take it all. I never once have said on this show or anything anywhere that I am a doctor. I am here to share my expertise and guidance like a million other fucking people are doing on social media, just trying to make a living in this goddamn world and share some wealth and knowledge with people that may want to change their life and be better. Does that make me a bad person? Does it make me a doctor? Does that make me some guru in the fucking dietitian world? No. I'll tell you what it makes me. It makes me a human being, because all of you who watch this show or who have followed me, or you can see my Facebook or my Instagram, know that I have done this insane transformation for the better. If I didn't, I'd probably be dead or close to it at this point. Here I am, thriving, feeling greater than ever, other than change, because change is hard. But listen, I'm still thriving. I still feel amazing. I still go to the gym every day. I'm still not drinking. I'm even smoking less weed, which is, it's crazy for me to say, because not once, I don't have my pen in my hand. Me and the pen have been broken up for about a week now. Change is hard. But listen, it's stupid waste of money stuff that I don't need. And so when you don't have that in your hand, and then it's not just as easy to just sit here and smoke weed when you want, it slows you down, and it slows your weed consumption down, which is slowing me down, I think. Anyways, one day at a time, one thing at a time. Diets and things are they've been around forever. Every last motherfucking celebrity on this planet, and I'm not saying I'm a celebrity, not by any means, F class at best, but everybody has peddled their shit and their wares. Capiche? For people to come at me, that's okay. It just means you hate yourself. And bro, get off your fat ass, go to the gym, stop eating the fucking McDonald's and the Wendy's and the Subway. Oh, I ate a sub. I had a sub. It was super healthy. I had like lettuce on it, bro. And onions and tomato too. You know how much fucking sugar is in that bread? Yo. Mr. Subway had a sub and I'm fucking eating healthy. Give me a break. Subway is the biggest joke on this planet. Won't go there. I'm just saying, stop coming at me because you hate yourself and you can't do me. Okay? The haters, that is, not you and you too. All right, let's get to it. We're all here for one big and foremost reason. It's my interview with Troy Zak. This guy is a legend in the punk rock world. He's playing with Econoline Crush and killing it since 2019, and that band is killing it. They're back. What an amazing band from the 90s and stuff. Well, let's get to it right now. Do it. All right, I'm really excited for my next guest tonight. He's a legend in the Canadian and European punk scene. He is the bassist for a great Canadian band called Econoline Crush. I'm working on it. Bear with me. I'm not sure what happened. I'm trying to bring it up. Stand by. All right, I'm really excited for my next guest tonight. He's a legend in the Canadian and European punk scene. He is the bassist for a great Canadian band called Econoline Crush, and he's also in a punk band called the Isotopes Punk Rock Baseball Club. We're going to get into it all tonight. I'm really excited to talk to him. He's an all-around good guy. His name's Troy Zak. Please welcome him. Troy, how are you, buddy? Let me bring you on. Here. There we go.
Yeah, man. I'm great. Thanks for having me, dude.
Awesome. Well, listen, thank you so much for taking the time to come on Trippin With Bondzee. I know we've been in contact for quite some time now and trying to make this work, and we've finally got to it. So I really appreciate you taking this time to do it.
Yeah, man, 100%. You were in Peru or Colombia? Where the hell were you again?
Right. Well, just north of both of those, up in Nicaragua.
Okay, that's where you were.
Yeah. We were chatting while I was down there because we were going to do it, but the day you were available or the dates you're available, that's when I was hiking a volcano up in Leon in Nicaragua. So
that sounds awesome.
Yeah, dude, it was such a fabulous time, and highly recommend you getting down there if you ever have the opportunity, for sure.
It's on the list. That's one of the places that's definitely on the list.
And listen, don't believe the hype on the media and oh, it's so dangerous and crazy and stuff, because there's a lot more dangerous places on this planet than Nicaragua. It is absolutely beautiful. I shouldn't even be giving away these secrets because, listen, it's beautiful there. The people are amazing, and the prices are ridiculously cheap. And so it's a grand combination of everything. If you're not into the 5-star resorts and all that, Nicaragua is the place to be, my friend, and go exploring.
I've heard that, man. I did something similar in Thailand for 6 weeks where pretty much slept in more of a grass hut tour than a hotel tour. You know what I mean? We found some pretty cool places to hang out in grass huts, and that was shit, dude. That was 2011.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I went out there for 6 weeks and did something kind of similar. Just played it natural.
Traveling is such an amazing experience, and in travel you get to meet a lot of amazing people, but you also get to hear a lot of amazing music and the cultural music and feel their vibes and see what makes them jive and just vibe out to their own style, you know, and that's pretty unique and in and of itself.
100%.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where you go. You can find that in Canada if you get to the East Coast, or if you head down to California. And you know, the bands that I've met in Germany, the bands that I met in Spain, it's kind of like sociology. You know what I mean? Like, because when you're going to these places, that's what you're doing. You're meeting these bands and you're getting to hang out with them and find out what they eat. Because all the food that you're going to be eating, you're not eating North American food. You're eating something that's indigenous to their region, right? So when you head out to, you know, when you're in Galicia, you're going to be eating octopus. You know what I mean? And
whether you like it or not.
and you're going to be in what people consider a part of Spain, but it's really not. It's Galicia. It's their own thing. They have their own language and their own literature, and it's a Celtic nation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you wouldn't think that you would go to this part of Spain on the coast, which is very much like Vancouver, and hear bagpipes and see people in kilts, and they have this rich Celtic heritage there. You know, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, like you said, traveling, you get to meet all kinds. It's beautiful.
It's just wonderful. So much to get to, and we've already sort of jumped in, but let's go back to the beginning and music in and of itself. You're a young kid growing up, and in the household, what was playing on the record player or the radio that you just got you to make you fall in love with music?
I love that question. Because we all remember that moment when you fell in love with something and made the hair on the back of your neck stand up. So for me, it was my parents' record collection, like most kids, I guess.
Yep.
And that would have been in the late 70s, like 78, 79, 80, when I was around 4 or 5 years old, finding Rolling Stones' big hits.
Of course.
I Tie Green Grass, which is like their first greatest hits collection, which contained all the singles from the first 3 releases. Still with Brian Jones, you know, when he was alive. That and the Ennio Morricone soundtracks to like those great movies like Fistful of Dollars, A Few Dollars More, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. My dad had those soundtracks, as well as a bunch of surf music and a bunch of chicken picking country stuff. Chet Baker, Buck Owens and the Buckaroos, stuff like that. And then my mom, ABBA. That ABBA and Buddy Holly. That's what my mom contributed to the mix. So that would be ground zero for falling in love with music, and knowing, like, when you hear the first track, like Satisfaction off side 1 of that record.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, it's such a cliche now because so many people have said that over the years, but it's a great fucking riff and a great song.
Absolutely.
And, you know what I mean? The first time hearing that, if you don't fall in love, you're tone deaf.
Something wrong with it.
You know what I mean? And then other than that, man, it was just like being a regular kid growing up in the prairies, and you know, the AM radio goes off. We had those little realistic AM clock radios. Yeah. So the AM radio station was constantly playing like Rosanna by Toto, Africa by Toto, Steely Dan, Tony Basil's Mickey, that kind of stuff. So AM radio pop hits, and that what I mentioned from my parents' collection were the ones that kind of got me pretty early.
Pretty big genre of music and stuff. But then you growing up too, you somewhere along the lines, you fell in love with punk music too, like in a pretty heavy way.
Yeah.
Where's that come from?
A really good friend of mine. His name is Richie. He plays in a band called Savage Henry and the infamous One Pounders from Saskatoon. He's a really talented guy. and an amazing guitar player, and he was my outlet for music. So he kind of introduced me to metal, and he introduced me to punk. So metal kind of came first. And then when I asked him what was a good punk record, he recommended the Ramones and the Sex Pistols. And I think I was in grade 9. Or,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Off
So
you went.
yeah, but metal was the first thing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
Right. Every 7-year-old kid, or grade 7. So I was probably 11 or 12. Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah. So my friend Richie, he was the one who kind of plugged me into something, and then I just kind of went out on my own and figured it out.
And so were your parents musical or instrumental, I guess? Was there instruments in the house and stuff growing up? What led you to ultimately fall in love and play the bass?
Well, my mom played piano. My sister played flute, and my other sister played trumpet. But I was more into going out with dad and hunting and fishing and trapping, because I grew up in northern Saskatchewan. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
And then the friend that I mentioned, Richie, he just said to me one day, he's like, we booked a gig and we don't have a bass player.
Ah, one of those.
So he very generously gave a bunch of his time to teach me.
Wow.
And I managed to struggle through a few songs after a few weeks of picking up a bass.
Yeah.
And it was just on.
And then it was on. Man, that's pretty wild. Because from there, and when you say it was on, it's on. I mean, the amount of bands that you've been in is countless, too many to name, but we're going to jump into a bunch of them here and talk about what you've been up to, because since you sort of learned how to really play the bass and be in all these bands and just learn music and being out on the road and playing with so many different cool people, you really have done it all in the music scene, it seems like, right, Troy?
Maybe not at all, but I've done a lot. I've achieved things that I never dreamt I'd achieve. You know what I mean? And met people I never dreamt that I'd meet, and had experiences that didn't even, you know what I mean? If you would have told me 25 years ago that I would have met some of the people and shared some of the stages with certain, had the experiences that I've had playing music, what it's given me, I would have been like, really? Fuck. I would have a hard time believing that. But I guess when you're too dumb to quit, you know what I mean?
Is it too dumb, or is it just good for you for that perseverance and never giving up on your dream and sticking with it, come hell or high water, and be damned the pay and be damned anything, but it's what you wanted to do your entire life? That's a pretty good life, isn't it?
It's a great life. It's column A, column B. You know what I mean? It's what else am I going to do? You know, I'm playing the back 9 now. I'm over 50. So it's I'm not stopping. And then, when something makes you happy, just never stop. Basically. Yeah. That's all there is to it. It could be anything. It could be sports, or
for sure. We're right in that same era, bro. I'm a whole ahead of you. I'm 51.
Me too. I'm 51. I just turned 51 in December.
Oh, okay. I'm a September boy. So
shit, dude.
We're right there. 73 babies all the way.
Yeah, same experiences probably.
Absolutely. Everything you were saying growing up, listening to it, it was almost exactly the same. It's pretty funny. But listen, I need for you to explain something to me and the listeners, because you gave me some notes in my research. You have been in touring bands, but also actual rock bands and stuff. So what is the difference? Take me through that.
You mean, how do you mean? Been touring bands and just doing pickup gigs? Is that what you mean? Or
well, I guess you've been in you said you've toured with some cool ass bands, including the Vibrators, which is a 70s UK band, the Mahones and more, and then there's bands you were actually with I guess.
Yeah.
I'm getting at.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So what ends up happening, here's how I'll just lay it out. The more you work, the more calls you get.
Sure.
The more people you meet, the more calls, you know what I mean? And if you have a dry spell, it's quite possible the phone could stop ringing. So there was this period of about, from around 2011 to 2019, where the phone just didn't stop. And I was always out on the road. I was always meeting people. And I had this really amazing situation where I was playing in bands that were on the same label, and I was playing on all the records from these various bands, and we had the same label, so we had the same agent and we had the same manager. So when I made myself available to do stuff, I kind of got the call because I was in that circle. So what would end up happening is I would be out with the Real Mackenzies in the wintertime in Canada. And then I would go to Europe. You know, I'd finish that tour in March, then I'd go to Europe for April with the Isotopes. And then they would go home and I would stay. And, you know, from late May, I would be back out with the Mackenzies on their European tour. And then I would stay, and then I would go out with the band from Berlin that I was in, Brew 36. And then, you know, I'd come home and do a tour with the Mackenzies and then do a tour with the Ice. So it was just like, because I shared similar things, be it an agent or a label, and I was playing on these records with these bands, these amazing bands and these people, I just fucking, like, it just all fell together. It was a perfect storm, and it was kind of unintentional on my part. I was really naive about it. I just wanted to work. That was the goal. Like,
Yeah.
You know, how close can I get to 200 shows a year? Can I exceed that? What's it? You know, I wanted to have that notch on in my belt to like work that much and to like pay the rent doing it. You know what I mean? Because it seemed like always before I wasn't. I would get close. You know what I mean? But then it's a snowball effect, and that ended up happening. And that's, you know what I mean? Like, that's how I got to play with the Mahones. That's how I got to play with the Vibrators. It's all through people I met on the road.
Gotcha.
That's-
That makes a whole lot more sense. And then you were in a really cool band, the last of the band Men Punk Band. And we've got a clip here. We're gonna play it. This is some pretty cool stuff. Let's have a watch.
Do what you want, and nobody anything here. I just want to pull a bus out air. Car crashes, just get out and skate. And the propane tanks are blowing up into space. Punch out in Baghdad before it gets too late. By 10 o'clock, I'll be falling on my face.
So take us through that. That's pretty fun times right there. What's up with that band? You were in it with Dennis Tech and Steve Godoy. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, Art and Steve Godoy are tattoo artists, punk rockers. They were part of the early OC punk rock scene with the Exploding Fuck Dolls in California. You know, Exploding Fuck Dolls were infamous.
What a great name for a band, by the way.
Yeah, and their first album was called "Here's to Your Fuck," and that is taken from Blue Velvet, right? So, but I met Art through tattooing. He tattooed me. Common interest of music. He started the Last of the Bad Men with his brother Steve on the heels of the Exploding Fuck Dolls, and they recruited Dennis Tech, who they already knew and had played with a band called The Golden Breed, and they had also supported Dennis Tech. They were a rhythm section. Art's a multi-instrumentalist, so he would play bass or guitar, and Steve, you know, on battery. And they added a singer, Daniel Creedon, who owns and operates Factory 13 Skateboards out of Ohio. He makes decks for everyone. He's a really, really brilliant guy as well. And then I guess I ended up getting that bass gig.
Okay.
And you know, Dennis was in Australia. Steve was in Long Beach, California. At the time, I was in Calgary. And Danny was in Painesville, Ohio, and Art was in Vancouver. Yeah, so we were spread out. So what had happened was, you know, no problems, only solutions, right? We sent some tapes back and forth, and then we all met in Vancouver, had one rehearsal, and went in the studio. So
wow,
that's why those albums sound the way they do. It's because it really is like, it is really this careening, like, punk rock record that keeps it between the ditches somehow. Like, it sounds very live, and we did it all very live. There's not a lot of overdubs on that, and it was a lot of like first takes.
Okay.
So, but and that band was so much fun. We did a bunch of touring in the Midwest, played a lot of skate parks, played a lot of cool clubs. You know, Art and Steve, professional skaters. Danny, skateboard manufacturer. Yeah, it was great. It was such a fun band. We did 2 records.
That whole the whole scene, that band, that whole scene, everything you just described and what you talked about earlier of just touring in Europe and all across Canada and stuff with these punk bands. It was certainly a time back then, wasn't it? Like the punk scene, the skateboarding, like it was the place to be, and it was its own kind of separate, quiet little world, wasn't it?
Well, it's pretty cool for me. I'm not a skateboarder, but I happen to know these guys who are pro skateboarders and really talented everything they touch, they sort of have that Midas touch. Whatever they do, they're just really driven, and everything they succeed.
Yeah,
That stuff. So I was invited into that circle. So I got to meet a lot of pro skateboarders, and go to Danny Way's mega ramp. You know what I mean? And just see all kinds of cool shit. Just so much cool stuff, and get introduced to that culture proper by pros. So I just sort of respectfully observed and tried not to look like an idiot.
yeah,
And hung out with them and did all kinds of cool shit, like went to Skatopia. And it was really, really fun. And then hanging out with guys like Dennis Tech from Radio Birdman and getting to meet him, thanks to Art and Steve for that. But getting to hear about him, he's a doctor, he's a pilot, he's a first wave punk rock guy. You know what I mean? Their album came out, and their first album was 1976 on Sire, same year that Ramones released their first record on Sire. So like, you mean the fucking history right there. It's one of those things where if someone told you that years ago, you'd be like, no fucking way, man. But
isn't it wild to think that you're part of that history in some way and touring with all these bands? And like you mentioned, you got to play with some great bands and share stages, and all of that. Like that punk scene it's a pretty special thing that is still mega important in the music history of things today.
100%. Yeah, man. I take moments here and there and express gratitude for those opportunities. I don't twang my wire too much about it. I know when you're doing an interview like this, it sounds like you're name dropping, but it's what an interview is. But,
it's just it's history. We're just telling stories and what you did, and that's the way it should be, and it shouldn't feel like name dropping and stuff.
But yeah, man. Every once in a while, I stop and think about it, and it's really interesting because when I was out touring with the Vibrators, I did a couple of tours with them, and I really got to know the drummer Eddie Vibes really well. He really started the Vibrators. He was definitely at the helm. We had a night off and we were in Virginia, and Eddie and I went out for a couple of tall, cold glasses of water.
Yeah.
And, so we got a little lubricated, and then, he's not a braggart at all. Like, you have to ask him.
Yeah.
And, he's this tough, like sort of North London looking guy. Like when he smiles, it looks upside down. Those tough London looking guys.
Yeah.
That's what he is. But once he opened up, he started telling me all this stuff. And I was like, holy shit, I can't believe that I'm talking to the guy who did that. Like, what was it like to sit in with Public Image Limited? Like, he was sat in with Pill and the Stranglers. And he played drums for the Inmates, which is a huge garage rock band over in Europe. They're huge in France, and they're a great, great band. If you haven't heard the Inmates, definitely worth checking out. And then the Vibrators, of course. You know what I mean? That's the band that, they opened up for the Sex Pistols, was on the Sex Pistols' first tour. So, the fucking questions that I have, it's ridiculous, right?
Yeah,
either he's going to tell me to shut up and leave him alone, or he's going to, kind of.
You went. Had a great chat.
But yeah. And like I said, we had a couple of pints, and then it all started coming out, and he told these great stories about, working with these legends, and he's a legend himself. So it's moments like that where you sit and you really feel like the student and the master, like the guy who's done it all for decades and decades and still does it.
Yeah.
It's very inspiring. You know what I mean?
How cool is that? You mentioned the band, the Isotopes. This band is pretty wild. Where does the name come from? The Isotopes Punk Rock Baseball Club.
Well, I would leave that for the band leader to decide, but everyone makes the connection to The Simpsons, right? So it may or may not be that.
Okay.
But, regardless of where the name came from, it's the world's greatest punk rock and roll baseball club. And like I was saying earlier, easily the most fun I've ever had playing music is with that band, because, the band leader is one of my closest friends, and he's a great songwriter, a great artist. And he always had these stand-up dudes playing in the band. Like, there was never any real bullshit.
Yeah.
It was always fun. It was always goofy. It was always entertaining. You know what I mean? We had the greatest adventures. There were 6 of us in a van traveling across the world. It was fucking amazing.
Wow.
Yeah,
you must have so many stories from all your times in Europe and just traveling, like you said, in vans with so many of these different rock and roll people and punk people. And I think we need a whole separate show for story time with Troy, to be quite frank. But the Isotopes, real quick here. We've got a great video because I love the whole baseball theme to it and everything, and like with everything. And this is a funny video, so let's have a watch real quick.
Good.
This is my best friend Dallas Dust Storm. Yeah, whatever. I think we're going for a little Legend of George Brett, gentlemen. Good call.
The Legend of George Brett. That's pretty funny. Who comes up with the ideas for these videos? Is it a band thing? Is it one individual? Is it the director you hire?
It's Evan October.
Okay.
Band leader. You know what I mean? He's the man. He writes the songs.
Yeah.
He really shaped that band and gave it its identity.
Okay.
And created that thing. And that goes right down to the videos, the production, you know, what he wanted. He did exactly what he wanted. So yeah, he wrote that the treatment for that video, and you probably got the Wayne's World reference through the whole thing. Yeah. So and it turned out so fucking good. I was amazed because all that shit's done illegally. Like when we're blowing through red lights on Main Street in Vancouver, it was like going, didn't get the shot. So he's constantly going around blowing through a red light.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty hilarious. And the fucking vehicle, he bought that car in that video. I don't know the exact price. Forgive me if I'm wrong, Evan, but I think it was something like $300 or $500. So he bought it with the intention of using it for the video, spray painted it. And then there we were with that vehicle and, you know, cruising around town.
It works out. I love you. You pop the tape in and then off you go. That's how it is. It's awesome. So let's jump now to 2019. You're already in the Isotopes and doing what you're doing, and then boom, you end up with Econoline Crush, an amazing, iconic Canadian band with Trevor Hurst at the helm. How did that all come about?
I was asked if I was interested by Graham Toussaint, who I had played in a band with like 24 years ago. Okay. And Graham had a band called GG Dart Ray, and it's a great band. Graham was working with Econoline Crush in various capacities, either playing guitar, doing tracks, or doing live sound. He was kind of doing a few different things with the band. And I saw him in a music store. I had gotten back from Europe in 2018, and I was mixing things up. So I got a gig with Bishop's Green, and then I ran into Graham in the music store and and he asked me to audition for Econoline Crush. So I did, and it was nice. It was good. Like I met everybody and everything was cool. Yeah. And then we took off and went out on the road right away. And I kind of, you know, it was trial by fire for the first bit of that band, but yeah, I've been in it since. It's a great band. I love performing with that band. It's so much fun live. I feel like I have the greatest drummer in the world with David, you know, behind the kit. He just never fucks up.
Yeah.
So
drummers are very important, eh? They're those guys that are sort of like they're the biggest lost sort of part of the band, if you will, because they're not front and center. They're not out there either singing or playing the guitar or in your face doing some cool bass riffs. You know, they're just sort of in the back doing the thing, but they are quintessential, aren't they? The leader of that band at the end of the day. Yeah. Well, my rhythm brothers, you know. Yeah. I love it. It sucks. It sucks if you can't trust the person behind you. And you know what I mean? It's just in life, but I don't have that problem in bands. You know, I'm blessed with having great drummers wherever I go. But you know, one thing about Econoline is that it's just like there's stellar musicians in the band. So I fucking appreciate that. It's really cool how that all worked out. Like 24 years previously, you played with a guy, and it's like the old adage goes, never burn any bridges, eh, bro? Because you never know how things could come back to work out in your favor. Yeah. No, Graham was good to me because he got me that gig in GG Dart Ray, and I couldn't sing yet. I couldn't, you know what I mean? And he kind of put me on the mic and taught me how to sing, and
took me out to do some really great shows in some really great venues like the Starfish Room here in Vancouver and the Boot Pub up in Whistler. So like, again, you know what I mean? It's just these opportunities that, you know, your friends give you. So it's just one of those things, man. The funny thing about Econoline too is that when I moved to Vancouver in 1994, when I was 20, on my 21st birthday, the week of my 21st birthday, I went to go see, I saw Econoline Crush at the Town Pump.
Isn't that wild?
Totally a very different band, like very aggressive.
Yeah.
Fucking like it was industrial. It was heavy industrial music, and I remember just being really impressed with the aggression that I felt that night, and I was a fan ever since.
That's pretty cool. And now here we are all these years later. You're an integral part of it, and you guys are killing it. That last song you guys put out, and a mutual friend of ours, Rich Meisner, did the video for Whisper. Wonderful song. I love the whole video. I love the song. It's got the feels, man. Let's have a watch. Yeah, such a great tune, man. It must be fun out back on the road playing and being a part of the Econoline Crush. And you guys got a tour coming up, like literally in like 2 weeks, I believe. You're hitting the road.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yes. Something like that.
Does it still get, like, all these years later, Troy? Is it still exciting knowing that a fucking new tour's coming up and you're packing the bags and here's how it's going to be? And I mean, you're a veteran of it now. So is it easy? Does it get easier? Does it suck? Well, take me through it.
It doesn't suck. It doesn't suck one bit.
Okay.
Cool. I love everything about it. Even the shit that I don't like, I secretly love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is it fun packing the van up every night, or is it like all the crap that happens? It's life. But man, I live to be in the van with those guys, and I'll never get tired of performing.
Yeah, cool.
You know what I mean? When you're on stage and the band is locked in and you're kicking ass, and it's just fucking amazing.
And people are grooving in front of you and having a great time, and hot chicks too. Like, that doesn't suck.
So many hot chicks, hot dudes, hot chicks.
Whatever you're into, listen, to each their own. I mean, it's all there.
Yeah.
You know, good vibes, good times. Listen, man, this has been such a blast getting to chat with you. I'm hoping to be able to make it. Maybe I can find a cheap flight out west. I'm going to have to yell at Trevor next time I talk to him, because I don't understand why you guys aren't coming out here.
Well, hey, man, we will.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So when were we out there last? Maybe.
I think it was less than a year ago.
Yeah. So I don't have dates in front of me of what they have planned for that part of Canada, but we'll be out there. I mean, for sure.
You guys are rocking BC, Alberta, and the flats of Saskatchewan this time around.
We're going to be hitting Alberta too. I'm not sure if those dates are announced yet. I hope I didn't shit the bed by saying that.
No, there was a couple.
We'll be in Alberta too.
On
Saskatchewan.
On the photos. I think we're okay. We're not telling anything out of school here.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So we're going to be hitting Western Canada, and it's going to be a great time. I love being out there. You know, I'm from Saskatchewan, so anytime when I go back there, I do get a little bit not homesick, but a little nostalgic. It's like, it's like I was born there.
Pretty nostalgic and cool too, traveling and doing and touring Western Canada in the winter months too, right? Good old February and March out in van.
You haven't lived, man. You haven't lived until you've done a winter tour in a van. Pardon me.
Absolutely.
It was like every for years, every March out on tour, going out. I did winter tours in Europe too, and they were not nearly as cold as a Canadian winter tour, man.
Canadian winters can be nasty. It's insane.
Sure.
Listen, anything else besides, like you mentioned, we might be coming back out here? What do we have new music coming up from Econoline Crush this year? What about the Isotopes? What's going on with either one of your bands?
Nothing happening with the Isotopes right now. As far as new music with Econoline Crush, still supporting the latest release, When the Devil Drives.
Okay.
So you know what I mean? It's only fair to give that the push it deserves, because it's a great album. Trevor did an amazing job with it as well. You know, he partnered up with Ian Alexander Smith to do that record. And we're also on it too. But you know what I mean? That's Trevor's baby, and it needs the push that it deserves. So we'll be supporting that for the year. And then Trevor's already been writing and recording. So yeah, at some point, new music, I hope, but I can't give you any kind of confirmed things because all I'm thinking about is getting out there right now, my immediate future, and promoting this record because it's too good to be kept, you know, under wraps. We've got to take it out on the road more.
Yeah, you bet. Trevor was gracious enough to come on. Well, I guess it would be last year now because we're into 2025, and we're almost into the second month of 2025 here. But I had a wonderful chat with Trevor last year. Such a wonderful human, a great musician, and I'm really looking forward to the future of Econoline Crush and what you guys got coming up and what Trevor puts together, and seeing you guys out on the road.
100%. Me too, man.
Yeah. Have a wonderful tour. Be safe out there, especially traveling on the roads. And just go have fun. I mean, I don't need to tell you that. It sounds like you just love this for the sake of loving music and being out there and playing. And I really appreciate your time today, man. It's been super gracious.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot for having me. I really appreciate that. And I'll see you next time we're out east.
Yeah, absolutely. Or if I can find a cheap flight, I'm going to fly out because I got lots of friends out in each of the provinces that would love to see me, and I would love to double dip and come see you guys and see Trevor as well. And
let me know, man. I'll put you on the list.
Super. Troy Zak, everyone, check him out on his Instagram. It's at Troy Zak, TROYZAK. Follow his YouTube page. Follow and listen to all his bands. Go check him out. The Isotopes, wonderful band, and of course, Econoline Crush. Troy, you're the man. Thank you so much.
Cheers, my guy.
Take care.
Later.
And that's that. And we're back. Troy Zak, what a rad dude. Man, it was such a pleasure to chat with him. And listen, I felt bad because he had a whole bunch of stories lined up that he was ready to tell. And we sort of got into a whole different vibe of where the chat went. But the good news that came out of that is we are going to sit down and sort of have a special punk rock storytelling time with Troy Zak and another special punk rock guest that is legendary in the Canadian punk rock scene, to be named later. You just wait and see who it is. But out of that, when Troy and I were talking later, we are going to have a wonderful chat about the whole punk rock thing coming up. All right. So make sure you go check out Econoline Crush. If you're out west, go check them out. Saskatchewan, Edmonton, or Alberta. Not Edmonton specifically, but I meant Saskatchewan, Alberta, BC. Go check them out. Go check out their page, Econoline Crush. And yeah, Troy Zak. What a wonderful dude. All right, let's get to some crazy videos before I get the hell out of here because I'm tired. All right, let's do it. What's the first one I got here? You never know in the whole world of, let me tee it up first here. I got to put it on the screen because so you don't want to miss the beginning of this because, well, Bozo here, things don't go so well for him. Watch how his whole face lights up. Check this out. And go. I hope let's see if we can play that again. Watch his face. Whoa! Man, I am not sure what the hell just happened with my guy here. Let me see if I can put one more time. Watch his face. And then he comes out of that pretty unscathed, if you ask me, because you saw the video. Watch one more time. His entire face lights up. Bro, stupid is, stupid does. I mean, muck around and find out. Listen, if you want to be a mermaid in a pool, that's fine. Sounds like a pretty cool job until one of the fish thinks, well, you're food. You imagine? You're just floating around, and everybody's taking photos of you. You're minding your own business, and then, well, reverse blowjob, if you will. quick. But listen, she's lucky that I don't know if she took stitches. I didn't see the video any further. I'm not familiar with. I know that fish is a sturgeon. Would her face be ripped apart, or like her head? Like, I didn't see any blood squirt out or anything. So maybe it was a gummer. Maybe it was a gummer. It was an older sturgeon. These jokes just write themselves, folks. And fuck, I'm here all night. Speaking of jokes writing themselves, our friend here in the world of, well, sword swinging, or I'm not really sure what's going on here, but watch this. I'm not quite sure what kind of drugs you have to take or how much alcohol you have to consume to get to the point where you walk around New York City swinging both your swords. Good Lord. I can only hope that is never me. Wow. Gotta love New York City. And listen, I say New York City, I think this is where this is from when I read the caption earlier. But this could happen anywhere. This can be in Toronto. This could be in LA. It could be anywhere, quite frankly, because there's a lot of wackos out there, including our double sword swinging buddy here. Well, but then, sometimes karma just comes back to hit you in the face. You know those Philly fans who are absolute assholes all the time, especially if you are in like a Flyers game, an Eagles game, or whatever. What's up? The Phillies, the baseball team. I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyways, listen, their fans are assholes. That's all I'm saying. Well, sometimes being a Philly fan, it hurts in your own stadium. Watch this.
I think it just came so fast.
The
and
wiener
it just
came
hit
a
me
little
like that,
so fast
and I didn't
hard.
even realize it. And the hot dog jumped off of my face and went into the other seat. Just came out of nowhere. It was like
what came out of nowhere, man?
and hard.
Captain McVay says she was watching the Phillies-Cardinals game Monday night when the Fanatic came out with his hot dog launcher. He started firing hot dogs wrapped in duct tape into the stands. One hit McVay right in the face, leaving her with a black eye.
Talk about taking a
I think it just came so fast, and it just hit me like that, and I didn't even realize it.
Speaking of shame, I feel 0.0 shame for this frozen rattlesnake.
Oh my God, boy, I ain't never seen no real snake. Bro, be careful, boy.
Why? Guess what happens when that motherfucker unthought? He's gonna be right angry, isn't he?
Pull him out.
And
well, my God, boy, I ain't never seen no real snake. Bro, be careful, boy.
Wait. He's taking a video.
That boy froze. Hold on,
when I first saw that, I had to watch.
Well, my God, boy, I ain't never seen no real snake. Bro, be careful, boy.
I thought it was like, sometimes you see logs. Wait. They look like snakes or weird things that they aren't, but they are, but they're not. You follow what I'm saying? I thought that thing was a twisted piece of wood. It just like ice on it. But then when you look at it, it's a goddamn rattlesnake frozen cock stiff in Florida because, well, it's goddamn freezing cold in Florida right now. I wonder if I can pull up this picture. I'll tell you where it's not freezing cold. In Alaska. Folks, you could not even make this up right now, okay? Pensacola, Florida, on January 21st, 2025, snow. Palm trees in the background, snowman right in your face. Homer, Alaska, 1,000,000 miles to the north, where it's supposed to be freezing goddamn cold all the time. Well, guess what? It ain't. Where am I hearing these other voices from? It's driving me nuts. Anyways, Alaska, January 21st, 2025. Grass is green. Go play golf if you want. But if you paid $1 trillion to go down to Florida from Alaska, well, you might be in for a pretty good chalk. Anyways, that's how it is, and that's how it goes. All right. Speaking of that's how it is, and that's how it goes. Never listen to your buddy when he says, "Hey, bro, you want to go get a job as a window washing guy, and we can look in high rises all day. It'd be super cool. We'll be way up there. It'll be a grand old time. We'll smoke weed. Nobody will even know, you know." And then, well, this happens. Watch. That's good time. And then, oh, good thing was tapped well, you know, sometimes when you want maybe one of them weird problems, like you go and make a joke of it, it's pretty funny. I'm not sure if he's saying like this on Elon Musk and his shitty Cybertruck, or if he's saying, "Hey, look at me, I've got a Cybertruck and I'm pissing all over you because I'm awesome." Wait! Can't do that. Well, Elon did, and everybody else did, so I can't try. Well, there. You know. All right, good. What's next? Well, sometimes, you know, when you're mucking around and you think you're cool and there's pretty girls around and you think everything's going to go grand and it doesn't, well, yeah, it doesn't. Watch this. Right to the dentist he goes. Maybe the hospital too for that concussion. And he was feeling so good. Go. Or maybe you should have dialed it back, Buster, because judging by the size and the age of you, you're going to be doing stupid shit. Go to Nicaragua, if I may say. They do great work. Just saying. All right. Just saying. Sometimes you come across some pretty cool stuff. And well, here's one of those things. Watch this. Depeche Stove. Like them, they're lost.
When I'm with you, baby, I go on my end. I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough.
It's not
everything you do to me and everything you say. I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough. We sleep and slide as we fall in love.
Sometimes things are pretty cool and nature's pretty cool. And well, this is pretty cool, and it's a great way to end the show. Watch this. Poetry in poetry. Why? What? Now, same time, that other talent with in fact, also like with and here. What a beautiful, that's what I need more like in this city of Toronto. I need to be that goddamn. Grab Toronto, plan for you. All right? Because that's how I need to be. Because there's just simply no other way. Because I am the way. I am the beast. I am that eagle. Yo, it's an eagle, right? Bald eagle. Right, get it right. Anyways, you know what I meant. That's it. That's all I got. Huge, massive thanks to Troy Zak from Econoline Crush, bass player. Go check him out. He's also in a wicked punk band called the Isotopes Punk Rock Baseball Club. Why am I still hearing voices or something in the background? And I can't figure out where it's coming from because nothing on my screen says it's playing. Oh, it was the naked dude. Should we play one more time? I don't know if I could get this back on. No, I can't because I already turned that screen off. It's okay. I don't think we need to see double sword swinging guy anymore, do we? No, but I was saying thank you to Troy Zak from Isotopes Punk Rock Baseball Club. And of course, Econoline Crush. Dude's a wicked guy. Go check him out. Follow Econoline Crush on Instagram. Follow at Troy Zak Bass on Instagram. And listen, go see him on tour if you're out west. All right. And if you're where I am, central, and then maybe out east, be patient. They'll be coming there too. All right. What else? I think that's it. New podcast coming soon. I think somehow we're working on it. I'm busy. I'm trying to start this new life in Toronto. Finding a place to live is not the easiest thing. Trying to get back into my own space and just a proper zen. Deep fucking breast bonds. We need to take some more because change is hard. And well, listen, I'm trying to make the best of what I'm dealing with right now. And well, listen, we're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. All right. You're doing it too. You look awesome. You are awesome. Keep shining bright. We'll get this through. We'll get through this together. I promise. Don't trip. You're fine. I'll catch you on a show next week. Maybe Wednesday. Maybe not. I don't know. Listen, if I wake up tomorrow, then it's a blessing. Hope you do too. What a wonderful way to end the show, eh, Craig? Well, I hope I wake up tomorrow. Hope you wake up tomorrow too. Listen, I'm tired. I want to get the hell out of here. I don't stop reading and staring at screens, and I just want to fucking break, okay? Toodaloo. I love you. Gotta go, and bye.
What was that?
That was very strange.
It was very weird.
Peculiar.
It was kind of amusing.
Yes, it was rather funny.
It was incredibly funny.
I loved it.
Hilarious.
Next to go, I check the line. Who's next to go?